guys, and welcome back to another summer camp video. I'm really excited to film this one today because I don't think I've filmed one like this before, but I'm going to talk about kind of what they don't tell you about summer camp, or some of the things that I wish I knew before going and working at a summer camp 6 years ago now, which is wild to think. Just want to share with you some of the tips that I've kind of found along the way that I kind of wish I knew about before going to camp, because I feel like it would have made the whole process so much easier. One thing I quickly want to talk about before I get into this video is the fact that you can still apply for this summer. I've had so many questions from people asking me if it's too late to apply, if they can still get an application in, if they still have a chance of even getting to camp this summer. And the answer is yes. Now is actually the best time to apply, because you'll find that all camps are hiring now. The back end of last year, not all the camps open and go into the hiring pools, but now all the camps officially are. As most of you probably know, I go with an agency called BUNAC, and I love BUNAC so much. I've used them for 6 years now, literally since I started back in 2018, and I couldn't recommend them enough. They are one of the highest paying agencies with some of the lowest fees, so I definitely recommend, if you are thinking about signing up, you have plenty of time to still sign up with BUNAC. So I'll leave all the details linked down below if you want to have a little look. I also have a discount code that can save you £25 if you do sign up, and you get that off your program fees. BUNAC's applications, I want to say, are open till like April time, so there's still plenty of time. We're not even in February yet, so you can still get there. Anyway, now that I've mentioned that, I'm going to jump straight into it and just tell you some of the things that they don't tell you about summer camp. Okay, number one, this is probably one thing that I did not expect to be the way that it is, and it's the fact that you will be exhausted at camp. Like, genuinely, you might get to a point and you're like, I've got nothing left. Like, I'm literally so tired, so exhausted, and it's because it is such a... Camp is the hardest job you will ever do. I always say this. I always say it's the hardest job you'll ever love. It is so rewarding in so many ways, but it is tiring and exhausting and so incredibly hard. I think just going into camp with the mindset that not every single day is going to be sunshines and rainbows and loads of fun. There will be so many days that are like that, but you will have days that you do find it hard and you will be so exhausted, because one thing you've got to remember as well is that the days at camp are already so long, and then you might have a day off or an evening off coming, and you don't want to miss out on all those things, but you're at a point where you're like, I'm literally hitting a brick wall here. I am so tired. And at my camp, we wake up at around 8 o'clock and we have a full day of activities, all different things going on, and then we might have a night off into a day off, and then we've got like a lot planned. Some people went to New York last year on a day off. That's a tiring day off, so just kind of go into it knowing that there will be days that you are completely tired and you're like ready to throw the towel in, like I can't do this anymore. But the good days outweigh those days of feeling tired and exhausted like you wouldn't imagine. But yeah, prepare to be tired. It's normal. Everyone's feeling the same. Communicate and talk about it if you are feeling that way, and there's people there to help. Okay, next thing I want to talk about is that you'll meet friends that become family. Now, this was something that I'd heard people talk about before going to camp, and I was like, there's no way. Like, I don't think I'm going to meet a group of people that have that much of an impact on my life, or I'm going to find better suited people to me than I already have in my like home life. And this shocked me. Like, let me tell you, my first summer at camp, I remember meeting people that I was like, I feel like I've known you my entire life. This is literally day 2 of orientation, and I genuinely see you as a best friend that's going to be in my life forever. And then for me, as the years have gone on, I've met the most incredible people at camp, best friends that I literally genuinely can say, hand on my heart, that will be in my life forever. And I could not be more grateful for the fact that camp has given me those relationships. But that being said, you also have to go into it open-minded and actually open yourself up to new people and let yourself build those relationships and connections, because they're not just going to come out of nowhere. You do have to get to know people, and you do have to put yourself out your comfort zone and get talking to people, and you won't regret it. The friends you will make at camp will literally be like no other. Okay, next I'm going to talk about is going to be a little bit controversial, but it's how much it rains at camp. Now, this has been completely different every summer that even I've worked at the exact same camp. Now, this past summer just gone, the weather was awful. It rained so much and it was just really gloomy some days, and the weather is a big factor in just people's moods. Like, I am a huge believer in that if the sun's out, you just feel so much better. Now, my 2022 summer, the year before last, the weather was absolutely phenomenal. Like, we had the best weather. I think we had one rainy day out the entire summer, and even then it wasn't a full rainy day, and everyone just seems to be in such high spirits, and the weather is huge in terms of that. So one thing to remember is that if it does rain, and it can rain a lot at camp, then maybe start thinking about things or ways that you can kind of lift up that spirit at camp, and you can make things exciting and engaging for you and your campers, even if the weather is awful. Speaking about rain, if you can fit it in your suitcase, I highly recommend taking a good waterproof jacket, and if you can, wellies. If you can't buy wellies beforehand, I would say get them in Walmart or Target. And I mean, even then, just some sort of waterproof shoe. It doesn't have to necessarily be wellies. The On Cloud waterproof trainers are brilliant, and everyone at camp has those. But yeah, it can rain a lot at camp. Okay, the next thing I want to talk about is the social battery. Now, the social battery, as you get towards, I want to say the end of camp, like I feel like it's week 6 or 7 for me, that I'm just like, right, my social battery is at 0. Like, I have nothing left, nothing in me. Obviously, the start of camp is so exciting. You're meeting all these new people, you've got orientation, the kids arrive, everything is super exciting and full on. And I find that most people's social battery is charged quite high at the start of the summer. And it obviously just gradually depletes as the summer goes on. And one thing to remember and really tell yourself is that if you need a night off to yourself or spending a day off doing something chill, then please listen to your body and go for it. Don't push yourself to go out and have like a crazy night out and a big day off if you physically just can't handle it. I did not go out anywhere near as much last summer. I had a lot more, like, I want to say like wholesome nights and days off at camp. Like, some nights off we literally just went and got food, went for a drive, went and stargazed, just chilled on camp, watched a movie, did different things. And honestly, I felt the best for it because I wasn't pushing myself to go out every single night, because it gets so hard. And yes, it's exciting and the FOMO will be real at camp. You won't want to miss out on going out or having a day off or doing different things, but also how you're feeling is super important, and you've got to make sure that you're gonna be reset and recharged and ready to go for the next day at camp. But one thing to always remind yourself is that camp will be the fastest 7 weeks of your entire life, or however long your camp is, and just make sure you enjoy it and you do get yourself involved as much as possible. But when you do need that break, make sure you take it. Okay, the next thing that I really didn't know before going to camp and had no idea how to prepare myself for was the fact that this job will be the most rewarding job you ever do. Like I mentioned at the start of the video, it will be the hardest job you ever love, but the way that I come away from camp with the way that I feel after spending a summer with my girls and with my co-counsellors is genuinely like no other. The way that you kind of have such an impact on other people's lives, and the way that you'll see your campers grow, and the way that your campers help you grow as well, it's so rewarding and is genuinely a feeling that I will treasure forever. That being said, again, you have to put everything into camp. You're not going to get all these things out of it if you haven't put the same kind of energy in. You're only going to get out what you put into camp, so make sure you really go for it, and make sure you really try and build those relationships with your kids and your co-counsellors, and you make things exciting and fun, not only for them but for you as well, and really try and make this summer the most special one ever. Okay, the next thing I've spoke about a lot, and if you've watched a few of my videos you'll know that I started back going to camp in 2018. I was 19 years old and I was really shy. I was quite introverted. I'd like to say I was still confident, but my confidence levels were nowhere near the way that they are now. And I think one thing I was most scared about going to camp for the first time was that I knew I would have to put myself out of my comfort zone. And for the years that I'd left school up until going to camp, I had got very comfortable. I worked a job with people that I'd known for ages. I hadn't really tried new things. I was very just like set. I was happy to be doing what I was doing. And then I was like, you know what, I'm going to do camp. I'm going to go for it. And I remember literally knowing that I was going to be in such a strange environment and a situation that I'd never been in before. And a lot of cases at camp, it's a big sink or swim environment. Like you get put into situations that you have really got to put yourself out your comfort zone if you want to succeed in. And I was terrified about that. Like I hated the thought of doing these kind of activities and doing different things that I had no idea what to expect, or I knew I wasn't going to be comfortable doing. But then looking back, knowing that those moments were the things that have really made me who I am today and have led me to have the best summers of my life at camp and to keep going back and enjoy camp as much as I have. You've just got to do it. And as intimidating, as scary as it seems, having to put yourself into situations that are so uncomfortable and feel so weird, your future self will love you for it. Honestly, at the end of the summer, you're going to feel so amazing that you've accomplished what you've done. Like, this is a big thing, and going to camp is a huge step. So be proud of yourself and be ready to put yourself into some situations that you might feel uncomfortable in, but it's going to be incredible. Okay, and the last thing I'm going to talk about is the fact that the travel you will do after camp will be one of the best trips of your entire life. Now, I didn't travel after my first 2 summers at camp, but my 3rd summer I did the biggest travels ever with a group of people that I literally did not know before going to camp, apart from one person, and it was absolutely unbelievable. And I'm traveling again this year and I'm so excited, and just know that the people you meet at camp and the travels you do after will be absolutely life-changing and will be so much fun. Speaking about travelling, I am actually going to mention that I am doing a little group trip to the West Coast after camp now. It's not a full camp travel, it's literally 11 days long, and it's just a group of people. We've got about, I think, like 12 people booked on now, which is so exciting. And it's just going to be a little post-camp trip, and we're going over to San Francisco, Pismo Beach, LA, San Diego and Vegas. And like I say, this is only 11 days long, and then nearly everyone on the trip is just then going from there and travelling wherever else after, meeting back up with other people they met at camp or doing different things. So if that's something you are interested in, feel free to drop me a message on Instagram and I can send you some info over about that group trip that we're doing, because it's going to be so much fun and I'm so excited. But yeah, I know a lot of people like having no plans after camp, and that's completely fine. And if you're anything like me, like I like having a little bit of something planned and booked, just so I know kind of what I'm working with, I know a little bit of where I'm going. And the amazing thing about this trip is that it's kind of going to be planned and booked and paid for before we even start that trip, so that's going to be really nice. And then like I say, people are going off and travelling and doing different things after before they head home. But yeah, I hope that's given you a little insight on just some things that you can maybe start thinking about and ways to prepare yourself for a summer at camp. And yeah, they're just a few things that I would have loved to have kind of prepared myself for, just because that first summer I'd have maybe thrown myself into the deep end a little bit more, and I'd maybe just have stopped worrying about what other people think and just have gone for it a little bit sooner and just kind of like, I don't know, embraced camp and embraced camp for everything that it is. But yeah, hopefully that helps, and I'm going to stop rambling now because I feel like I've rambled for a very long time. But if you guys have any other videos that you want to see, or if you have any questions, I can put another Q&A together. The countdown to summer is on, genuinely. The fact that it is now the 29th of January, it's February so soon, which is wild. I go home in 2 weeks, guys. I'm literally home in 2 weeks, which is so exciting. But yeah, the countdown to camp is on, and I hope you're all excited. And yeah, if you have any questions or if you just want to talk to someone about something, my messages are always open, so feel free to drop me a message over on Instagram and I will always be happy to help. But yeah, thank you so much for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next video.